Okay, so today is Friday, November 22nd, 2024. Today's update's going to be somewhat on the shorter side. It's about 2:14 p.m. as this broadcast is being created. There has been something of a surge of influenza in this area of Pennsylvania, and some individuals around me, it seems, may potentially not have been immune, despite having received the so-called flu vaccine, right, to potentially having gotten this thing. So I'm kind of in a bit of a nurse modality here where I'm having to run around and help a number of people out. But that's just in my nature to be helpful. So I'm at least somewhat, my spirits are lifted by a lot of things, but especially the fact that we do see, it seems like the entire publicly traded Bitcoin mining complex is up today, which is really nice considering Bitcoin is practically like on the precipice of reaching $100,000 a coin. If it hasn't, in fact, potentially kind of crossed over to that level and maybe backtrack just ever so slightly. I think we're just about $500 or so shy of that record, which is quite remarkable to say the least. I do see that Bitfarms has traded up today, so that's kind of nice. And as I said, the entire publicly traded complex is up. So what does this mean going into next week, which here in the United States is a holiday week of sorts? If I'm not mistaken, right up in Canada, so-called Thanksgiving is celebrated in like the middle of October. That same holiday here in the United States is celebrated towards the end of November. So we're going to see financial markets close at least certainly one day next week at a bare minimum. And so, it's going to be a shortened trading week. Of course, Bitcoin observes no such restrictions or anything like that, right? It's 24/7, 365 days a year, nonstop action all the time. So listen, my friend, the best thought that I have at this moment in time as it relates not just to Bitfarms, but really the entire publicly traded Bitcoin mining complex is that I think going into what could potentially be a pretty momentous 2025, I think there's a lot to be thankful for. And we're going to have a couple of broadcasts this week, so this is not a Thanksgiving broadcast as of yet. But I do think that we have a lot to be thankful for insofar as the fact that, hey, a lot of these companies have weathered some pretty vicious storms. I mean, it was pretty hard when FTX went out of business in late 2022. I know it shook the entire, crypto landscape. Bitcoin mining companies were not immune. The price of Bitcoin itself kept sliding further and further lower. So, it's kind of nice, right, to at least be on the other side of that and to be at the precipice of what really, really, really could be, quite possibly, the beginning of a so-called super cycle. I know this is something that's been talked about a lot. I don't know if I fully buy into that idea, but if the U.S. federal government follows through on its sort of like quasi-promise here, it's not really, I don't know how much of a promise it really is, right? But at least the idea that, hey, Uncle Sam, right, which is a bit of a colloquial term for the U.S. federal government, is going to purchase Bitcoin in the open market and create a Bitcoin reserve. I just don't know what that means for the price of Bitcoin in terms of the upside. I mean, it could be pretty staggering. So with all of that said, my friend, let's stay positive, let's be great, and we'll see each other again early next week.